Treasury Secretary making some news. Take a look.
Has anyone from the White House talked to you about this decision?
To me personally or to other people within my department?
Well, you personally first and to other people second.
I have not had any conversations with anybody in the White House. Our legal department has had conversations prior to receiving the letter with the White House General Counsel. They have not briefed me to the contents of that communication. I believe that was purely informational.
That is Donald Trump's Treasury Secretary talking about the legal discussions to try to get Trump's taxes. And he says the process is supposed to be walled off from White House interference. I want to get right to it with Jason Johnson from TheRoot.com and Richard Painter, former chief White House ethics lawyer for George W. Bush. Richard, how do you view the legal and ethical obligations of the way the Trump administration is responding to what would appear to be a lawful request under federal law for his tax returns?
Well, this is pathetic. He should have turned over the tax returns before he was elected. Every other president has publicly disclosed his tax returns. Candidates for president disclose their tax returns. And he promised the voters he would disclose his tax returns. Now he's using the White House counsel and the Treasury Secretary to conceal his tax returns, not only from the American people, but from Congress. And this is in a situation where there are very serious concerns that the president is taking money from foreign governments, profits and benefits from foreign governments, in violation of the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution. There are 3 cases that have been brought against the president in the federal courts. 2 of them have proceeded beyond a motion to dismiss and on to discovery. And there is serious concern in Congress and in the federal courts that this president is taking money from foreign governments in violation of the Constitution. That information is in those tax returns, almost certainly.
You're involved in one of those cases. Do you think that the House Democrats' use of this law is an even stronger legal tool than the attempts of discovery in those cases to get the returns?
Well, it should move a lot more quickly because they should subpoena those returns with a vote in the full House and demand compliance with the subpoena and then take that to the courts on an expedited basis. We have a serious situation here where our president may very well be taking money from foreign governments in violation of the Constitution, that on top of the Russia investigation, the Mueller report, which also needs to be publicized as soon as possible. Yes, this needs to go on the fast track, and the president is obstructing a congressional investigation and using the White House counsel and the Treasury Secretary to do that, and it's pathetic.
Well, we know where you stand. I mean, Jason, Richard mentions the counsels and the way that this all becomes a very elaborate strategic bureaucratic fight. And there's a view, Jason, as you know, that some critics of Donald Trump say he's very clumsy and blustering. I want to point to some reporting which was done in the New York Times, including by Maggie Haberman, about how he actually seemed to laser focus on getting the counsel, the lawyer for the IRS, in, maybe because he had this on his mind ahead of time. Take a listen.
The president called Mitch McConnell and in the course of the conversation said that he would like him to fast-track the IRS chief counsel his confirmation vote, and that it was a top priority, even more of a priority than getting Barr confirmed.
He wanted the IRS counsel to be sort of his confirmation to be expedited earlier this year, even ahead of Attorney General William Barr when that seat was open. This is something that's on his mind.
Good reporting there. I mean, Jason, what does it say that he was looking more at the IRS lawyer than the Attorney General of the United States as a confirmation priority?
I mean, this president has left dozens of positions open, Ari. We don't have a head of ICE. We don't have head of Homeland Security. But he wanted to make sure there was going to be somebody there to cover his taxes. Trump is defending his taxes like a high school search engine, search history. He just doesn't want anyone to see what he's actually been doing with his money over the years. And the problem is this. At some point, it's going to come forward. As we sort of discussed last week, Mueller probably had access to this information. So as many times as the president tries to play whack-a-mole and stop this, someone is going to get access to his tax returns. He's not going to be able to keep this hidden. So the larger question is, what is he afraid of?
Right.
Look, we know he's probably doing something illegal or is getting illegal funding, but he must be worried about something bigger.
Take a listen to him. What's he afraid of? He sounds a little unnerved. Here he was, Donald Trump, today.
We have bad laws, and so we're fighting the bad laws. We have the worst laws of any country anywhere in the world. We're bucking a court system that never, ever rules for us.
In a lightning round, a sentence or two from first Jason and Richard. What goes through your mind when you hear a president speak that way about the rule of law?
I mean, this is a president who's been ruled to be behaving illegally by the court 65 times since he got into office. Of course he doesn't like judges, and especially if the judges happen to be brown.
Richard?
This president has no respect for the judiciary. Even as a candidate, he attacked a judge in a federal case in which he was a party, saying the judge was Mexican-American, and so therefore the judge was biased against him. He has repeatedly attacked the federal courts. He has zero respect for the judiciary, and you put that on top of his attitude toward immigration and nut jobs like Stephen Miller running around the White House. This is a very bad situation for our country.
And I'll mention, as I do journalistically, Mr. Miller has been invited on before. Invite's open. He could come on alone. He could come on with you, Richard, if he wants to debate any of this. The water is warm.
Happy to talk to him.
As they say journalistically. Jason and Richard, thanks to both of you. Up ahead on